Okay, so now let's get deeper into the pigmented rice, the power of the pigment.
This is where it gets very interesting. I kind of figured out a little while ago that, as we've always said, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. The darker
Right.
the pigment, the higher the antioxidants, the higher the nutrients.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another Brewer Report. Today, we are going to talk about a food that many people consume probably on a daily. And it's not just a food that is consumed in the US, it's really a worldwide food. It's very popular. I happen to love it, and it's rice. Rice is what we're going to talk about today, but we're not going to just talk about the taste of it. We're going to talk about, of course, the nutritional value of rice. So we're going to get into whether it's healthy for you. We're going to talk about the differences with the rice. You have white rice, of course, you have brown rice, you have red rice, you have purple rice, and you have black rice. So we're going to talk about the differences with these kinds of rices. And we will get into how rice can impact your health. Uh, can it cause diabetes? What does it do to your heart? Can it cause cancer? What does it do to your weight? Those different things. And then we will, of course, address that hidden risk of eating rice because of it. This is included in rice, and it's called arsenic. We've spoken about arsenic with other products, and it has a lot to do with the water and soil, with our environment. But we're going to talk about how arsenic affects rice. But let's get into it. Let's start right now, Daddy, with rice. Let's talk about whole grain rice versus white rice and what it does to us in terms of our health.
Okay, well, obviously, whole grain rice is better than white rice per se, especially when it comes to your heart and your blood pressure. Whole grains can lower your blood pressure, etc. And then, of course, uh, the biggie with whole grains versus white rice is the glycemic index and diabetes. Diabetics should avoid eating white rice with a few exceptions, and we'll get into that. But in terms of weight and inflammation, brown rice supports weight loss, especially belly fat, reduces inflammation, and supports artery health. But we're going to get deeper into all of the types of rice. Um, let's talk about white rice right quick when it comes to glycemic index. Uh, Long grain, about 70 to 80. Keep in mind, low glycemic index is 55 or less. Long grain is 70 to 80. Short grain is 85 to 90. White
Wow.
jasmine rice is 70 to 89. But then there's a surprise that white basmati rice is 50 to 58, which is kind of low. Uh, and we will talk about parboiled white rice later, but it's also low. But the mama jamma when it comes to white rice is the instant quick cook rice with a glycemic index of 85 to 90. So diabetics run. If somebody tries to hook you up with some instant quick cook rice, run.
Oh my goodness. Well, I just and that's the easy rice that everybody likes to
That's the
cook
easy
because
rice. That's the easy
uh
rice. Now, now in the whole grain category, black rice is the lowest at 42 to 50, which is one of my favorite. I eat a lot of black rice. Purple rice is about low to medium, 55 to 55, which is right there at that edge, 45 to 55. And then brown rice is a little high. It's 50 to 66. And red rice is 55 to 65. But they're still much lower than your white rice.
but again, with the right rice, if you get white basmati rice, that's in the 50s, right? Let me just be clear.
Yes, white basmati rice, which is a little bit of not so much a surprise, but it is really good. And of course, parboiled rice, we'll talk about it later, but that's clearly lower.
because I actually have white basmati rice here now. You can get brown basmati rice, which actually my father and I had, let's say a couple of months ago. We made some red beans and rice, and we actually used brown basmati rice, and it was good. I can't really tell the difference between that and the white rice. It had a little bit of a nuttier flavor because I know sometimes, like for me, trust me, I know that white rice is not the way to go, as my father just indicated with the numbers. But, sometimes it does seem a little fluffier, softer. It tastes better to
Yeah,
me
it's easier to
sometimes.
digest in some ways because it doesn't have that outer brand on it. We'll talk a little bit more about that.
Right.
But that
But for,
outer
yeah,
brand is also good for you.
but for those of you who are like me, who, may prefer the taste of white rice, if you just must get that white basmati rice, and we'll talk a little later about maybe the best brands for that or what to look out for when it comes to choosing your rices. But like I said, preferably get a darker rice. And so if you get that brown basmati rice, it tastes pretty good too. That's just my recommendation. Okay, so now let's get deeper into the pigmented rice, the power of the pigment.
And this is where it gets very interesting. I kind of figured out a little while ago that, as we've always said, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. The darker
Right.
the pigment, the higher the antioxidants, the higher the nutrients. Okay, so the rich, the richest in terms of antioxidants, drum roll please, is purple rice. It's the highest antioxidant rice because it has the anthocyanins in it that you find in blueberries and those types of things. Followed very closely by black rice. Okay, so they support heart health, anti-inflammatory, good in fiber, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the big ones. Then comes the red and the brown. Okay, but those are the two biggies. So based on that, now I've been eating black rice quite a bit. I've been kind of incorporating that with my beans for my complete protein, but we're going to talk more about something else that has a complete protein later. But basically that's what I've been incorporating. So now, based on this research, I'm going to have to shift over to some purple rice simply because of the high antioxidant uh, uh, anthocyanins and the high it's highest in antioxidants and anthocyanins. So I think that's extremely important. Um,
So yeah. So a lot just it has, from what I'm reading, 5 times more than the brown rice. Well, I guess black rice has 5 times more antioxidants than brown rice, but then purple rice has even more than that.
right, right. So I mean, this is good research, really good research. Now, obviously, brown rice is more prevalent and available. If you go to Chipotle, you go to all these restaurants, you can get brown rice. They're high in fiber, slows your sugar absorption. Also, it's good for heart health. It is lower than white rice in terms of glycemic index, but it's not quite the lowest, obviously, as we have already discussed. And it's rich in magnesium, et cetera, et cetera. So it is a better version of rice for those who can't necessarily who can't necessarily buy black rice and purple rice. Although you need to find out a way to do that because it's not really that expensive, much more expensive. But clearly, if you're trying to watch your health, you want to go more purple, black, and then brown.
And you
But
can
brown
find
rice,
these,
if I'm going to
yeah,
Chipotle, I'm gonna get brown rice.
and you can find these darker rices on Amazon. Like my father said, you may not see it at your local grocery store, but I have absolutely seen it on Amazon. That's the beauty of the era we live in, the information age, the age of digital products and digital websites, whatever. We can find these obscure or hard to find products now online, and they can be delivered to our homes. So look for it there if you can't find it in your local grocery stores. All right,
Absolutely.
so now let's get into the arsenic issue though. A lot of people I've seen who are into health, they avoid eating rice because of the arsenic issue. But let's get into that. There's certain techniques with that, right, that we can deal with because we don't want to scare anyone because we just told you about the antioxidants of some of these rices. So we're gonna share the information, but there is a process here.
Yes. Now, rice, because it grows in water in flooded paddy farming, it absorbs arsenic. So arsenic accumulates in the bran layer, which means that your branded rice, which is like your brown rice, your black rice, etc., they will absorb the arsenic into the actual bran. So how do you get rid of that arsenic? Okay. And also, um, you have to basically rinse it, soak it, cook it in water with you rinse it and soak it overnight. You cook it in water that's probably 5 times as much as you would normally do. And then after you do that, you drain it after you've cooked it, and it reduces the amount of arsenic by 50 to 60%, up to 70%. Now, the other thing you have to be careful of is where is it sourced? Okay? Where is it sourced? So, uh, brown basmati rice from California, India, Pakistan, etc., uh, considered to be low. But you got to avoid it if it's in Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas. And the colored or the black and red rice are often lower. So that's why you rinse, soak, cook, and then drain. Um, so that's the key. Brown basmati from California is really lower.
But I have to say, I'm trying to picture this whole cooking process because look, everybody out here, you're probably like me. Sometimes it's tricky to cook rice. That's why people buy that instant rice, to be honest with you. I've already
Yeah, I
mastered how to
know.
cook. I've already mastered how to cook some rice. Now you're telling me I got to put 6 to 1 or 10 to 1 water into some rice that I've soaked overnight. Now well, first I gotta rinse it, now I gotta soak it overnight as well. And now I gotta put tons of water in it, cook it like it's pasta, and then cook it and then drain that water out. And then you're telling me rinse it again. I hope this rice is still gonna taste good.
I didn't say you can rinse it if you want to. I mean, that's left up to you. Yeah, that last rinse is going to take it about 60 to 70% removal of
Yeah.
arsenic. But if you don't want to rinse it, at least you're about 40, at 50 to 60%. If that last 10% doesn't matter. So, hey, it
Well,
is
maybe
what it
you'll do it.
is.
Well, maybe you'll do it because arsenic, we didn't talk about the risk of arsenic. Arsenic, too much of it. And like we've said on previous podcasts, let's not make rice an enemy, just like we're not going to make flax seeds an enemy. It's just the reality of our environment right now. But arsenic is just found in a lot of our food. So we're just here
Yeah, there's
to,
a certain level of arsenic that you can tolerate. That's the
right.
key.
But you want to minimize the arsenic the best you can is because arsenic, the risks are it can cause cancer, heart issues, heart disease, diabetes, and cognitive issues. So that's really what the issue is with arsenic. For those of you who may be wondering why you would need to go through this whole process of how you cook your rice to minimize the arsenic, but the reality is it's in a lot of our foods, and I know my father said that there's a minimum of it. There's your body can tolerate a certain amount.
Right, because arsenic, like you said, arsenic is in a lot of foods. So you just have to minimize the amount of exposure. Your body can handle so much of it. I mean, it'll just eliminate it. But bottom line is that you just have to mitigate how much arsenic that you're getting from rice through that process. And so that's the real key.
Absolutely. Now, did we talk about parboiled?
Yeah, parboiled rice has undergone a specific process. In other words, soaking, steaming, and then drying while it's still in the husk. Okay. And so it is considered a healthier version, especially of regular white rice. And so parboiled rice is the way to go. It has a lower glycemic index. It's rich in nutrients. It's high in fiber, etc. Because the bottom line is it has been rinsed, it has been steamed, and it has been cooked. So there you go. Parboiled is healthier version of rice. Now, when you do that, it does turn a little yellow when you buy it, but you can buy it.
Okay, well, I will be looking for that because look, I love rice. I know my maternal grandfather loved rice, so it's in me. Like I am a rice eater. And when I was in Guam, we ate a lot of rice. I mean, a lot of cultures consume rice. So I don't think we need to fear rice because that's kind of why I'm a little. I mean, I know we have to share the information, but I don't want this segment of us talking about arsenic to again put fear in people when it comes to consuming rice. You just have to again know how to prepare it. But we are going to get into different grains that you can consume as an alternative to rice.
Right. And what Furman recommends is that you rotate your grains and your starches to reduce the exposure to arsenic. And one of the best alternatives is quinoa. Okay. That is a complete protein, wheat protein, with all 9 amino acids. And the reason it doesn't have, a lot of these don't have it because they aren't grown in water. Um, the other one that's really popped up is farro, which is also a great alternative to rice, and it really kind of looks like rice and tastes like rice. But again, it is not grown in water, so you're not going to get the exposure to the arsenic. And they're all very good. We probably have to get another podcast on these types of grains so that you can get a better feel for it. But buckwheat, amaranth, what is it? Oats, of course, barley, bulgur, lentils, which is a bean, but lentils are extremely good. And in some cases, you can enjoy some of these with rice in moderation, and you get your complete protein. But as I said before, quinoa is a complete protein. So that's something I'm definitely going to consider.
And a lot of people have, when I go online, a lot of folks make recipes, good recipes with quinoa and farro. I see it a lot. Quinoa is great if you want to make, I've seen people make a vegetarian burrito with quinoa. I believe there's a good recipe online with that. You can have it with beans, quinoa, some peppers, and things like that. You can make a nice little burrito with that. But yeah, is there anything else you want to share? We're about at the end of the show when it comes to rice.
No, I mean, don't give up on your rice, okay? Because beans and rice are complete protein. Okay. Quinoa, of course, is another complete protein. So for people who want to be vegetarian and working out and want that protein, obviously you want to have some rice in that. So I use black rice with my beans, as well as now I'm going to shift more to purple rice because of higher antioxidants in it. But you still don't, you just have to process it the right way. And of course with farro, I think that's clearly going to be something I'll look at as well as quinoa.
Yes. And that to me, it sums it up well. You want to choose the right type of rice, right rice. That's actually a brand out there, right rice. At least it used to be a brand. I don't know if they're still around. But um, but yeah, you want to choose the right rices. And like I said, or like we said, if you do consume white rice, get that white basmati. That seems to have the lowest glycemic index. Be sure you know where that rice is sourced from. It needs to be sourced from India, California, or Pakistan. Actually, I was at Trader Joe's. They do have rice from India, which is good. And all of this just helps you to avoid some of the risk in terms of heart disease, in terms of diabetes, in terms of certain cancers and things like that. So hopefully we've helped you to better choose your rice. Hopefully we have informed you well, and that's our show for today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with your family, share with your friends. Let's beat this algorithms behind and get our podcast out there. Our goal is to reach clearly millions of people, but let's start with thousands. So, but we can achieve that through your help if you share our podcast and share this information. Because really, ultimately, obviously, our goal is to inform as many people as possible about healthy eating and the nutrition of certain foods. And like I said, that's our show. And we'll catch you next time. I'm Stacey Brewer, and you have also heard from my father, David Brewer. Until next time, peace.
Peace.